Archaeologists reconstruct ruins of Tiwanaku Temple in Bolivia using 3D printing technology. Most of us have seen this. It's a beautiful portal or doorway, and locals believe that it could be a portal or a stargate to some other dimension. They say it was like an elaborate Lego set, the 3D printing technology. This is what UC Berkeley's Alexei Vranich claims. This is from the Smithsonian on Smart News. Among the monumental architectural buildings by the Tiwanaku civilization that thrived in what is now Bolivia between 500 and 950 AD was a staggering complex known as the Pumapunku. For centuries, this structure dazzled all those who came across it, and the Inca repurposed it for their own rituals. The European colonizers marveled at its beauty, but looking over the past 500 years has left Pumapunku in fragments, and scholars have struggled to figure out what the UNESCO World Heritage Site actually looked like in the past. Fortunately, as George Dvorsky reports from Gizmodo, UC Berkeley archaeologist Alexei Vranich has devised a way to put the remnants back together using Lego-like 3D printing pieces. Pumapunku, or Gateway of the Puma, was a temple complex consisting of plazas and ramps placed on raised platforms. Vranich writes in a paper published in the open access journal Heritage Science. The structure is surrounded by a number of other monumental ruins in the site of Tiwanaku, both the name of the ancient empire and its city. Attempts to restore the site in the mid-20th century were poorly executed, and the ruins hold the distinction of being considered one of the worst reconstructed sites in the continent. Pumapunku exists today as 150 scattered blocks, none of which are in their original place. The surviving stones of Pumapunku are too big to move around, but Vranich say that there is an opportunity to tinker with replicated parts of the monumental buildings through 3D printing technology. He and his team consulted the field notes of two 19th century archaeologists, along with those of J.P. Prodson, an expert in pre-Hispanic architecture who worked at the site in the 1990s. So based on these existing measurements of the height, width, and length of the blocks at Tiwanaku, the researchers were able to model 17 slabs of foundational sandstone and 140 pieces of andesite rock that made up the superstructure on a computer. They 3D printed the blocks at 4% of their actual size and then began the painstaking process of fitting the pieces together. The overall appearance of the collection was similar to that of the recently started puzzle, or as commented by nearly every visitor that chanced upon the collection, an elaborate Lego set. This metaphor is appropriate, especially since most people entertain themselves with the puzzle until they cross the boundary between a harmless distraction and a maddening obsession. It might seem as though it would have been easier to model the entire structure using software, but Vranich maintains that the hands-on work was actually less cumbersome. The human brain continues to be more efficient than a computer when it comes to manipulating and visualizing irregular 3D forms, he says. And he goes on to explain, we attempted to capitalize on archaeologists' learning ability to visualize and mentally rotate irregular objects in space by providing them with 3D printing objects that they could physically manipulate. And in addition to creating a model that may finally give experts a visual representation of Pumapunku, the team's reconstruction offered several new insights into the building. Perhaps most intriguingly, the researchers discovered that gateways that now lie smashed around the site were once aligned to create a mirror effect, the largest framing a smaller, which in turn framed an even smaller one, and so on. Quote, it would create an effect as if you were looking into infinity in the confines of a single room, unquote, Vranich tells Gizmodo Dvorsky. This architectural choice may in turn be linked to the Inca belief that Pumapunku is the birthplace of the world. Vranich believes his approach to reconstructing Pumapunku could be used to recreate other heritage structures that are falling apart or are due to the ravages of time or more recent human influences. The researchers will also make their ready-to-print models available in an online archive so other experts can at long last get a closer look at Pumapunku in this way. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.